Oh, what a pre-show. 10 out of 10.
What a pre-show. 10 out of 10. Connecting. Everything's connecting.
Connect this dick.
Oh, nice.
It's Evolution presented by
Mixer's connected. That's nice.
Who the fuck streams on Mixer?
You stream on Mixer.
No, I don't. Because I don't want, like, I mean, I
Wait,
only...
Twitch what's going on here with Twitch?
Twitch broke. Oh, wait, shit, Twitch broke? That's the one I like.
Okay, it's not broken. It was just weird. It was just being weird.
Damn it, Twitch.
It just says like unknown for some reason.
I love that Pokemon.
There it is. Now it's online.
Yay!
Yay! Ezzy Mac has joined.
Hello, person.
Via Periscope.
Oh, you're on Periscope. Are you paying for that one on Restream?
No.
Oh, I thought you had to pay for Periscope.
Nope.
I'm gonna put that on my list of unnecessary things
Unnecessary things to stream to. Hooray!
Who the fuck watches on Periscope? I mean, whatever.
Plenty of people, man.
I'm gonna set that
Russians.
up right now. You know what? The thing is, you're probably...
Oh, come on, YouTube. You working yet? Why is it buffering? There it goes. Finally. Turn-based strategy. That's what we're doing today. Still says sending data, but I just checked. It is connected.
How's my background noise? Because I supposedly fixed it.
Well, as of right now, it's fine.
Yeah.
But when you record your own audio, it'll probably be different.
No, what I had to do, so I learned, it was like, even when I was streaming with the Yeti, I was like, why is there this buzzing noise? And the input volume on the microphone, like, not on the little dials on it, like, I had to go into Windows, turn down the input volume.
Ah.
Which is just the fucking weirdest, but okay.
Bah.
Bah. Bah. Bah. I might answer the first half of this podcast with just bahs.
What do you think of this? Bah. I totally agree. I really, also bah.
You really like the artistic strategy of this developer? I think they went way overboard. Bah! Bah! Well, you got a good point there, Kevin. Bah! How much do you think it would cost to get Fallah Bah to appear on the Retrocast and only answer in bah?
It's like a 5-minute interview and he just bah the whole time?
No. Keep him on for the whole cast and then just give him, like, bah! I don't know. The Ultimate Warrior did have a way with his overhead presses. Bah! You're right. He was kind of a shill. Bah!
Oh, God.
Are we streaming on Africa TV at all?
What is Africa?
I don't know. I'm looking at all the other restream options. How about Vapors TV?
No.
What?
It's YouTube. It's YouTube, Periscope, Mixer, and Twitch.
I don't know. I feel like we're missing a giant audience on Vapors TV.
I should stream to just like some random one out there and just see what happens.
Oh, I have. What's the difference in YouTube Stream Now and YouTube Gaming?
Oh,
it's nothing. It all does the same thing. Well, that's stupid.
Okay. Well, then never mind.
Yeah.
You had me wondering. Okay.
We also have OK.Russia. That's another option we can do.
Definitely go there.
Yeah. All right, let's do this.
Okay. Counting down. 3, 2, 1, go. And we're live with the Red Leaf Retrocast, episode 29. This is the Retrocast edition. I am your host, JD, joined here with my fellow Retro World Expo consigliere, Kevin. How you doing, my friend?
Bah! Bah! Bah!
I see you're excited. Well, it's good. It's good that you have a strong opinion about today's podcast. Definitely got all that across there.
You know what the bad part was? When I was at Jiu-Jitsu yesterday, I got elbowed in the temple, and I just did the Fallah Bah thing on my head. I was like, that was a big mistake right there.
Wrestling references for those that are joining us there. Yep, that is that he's a wrestler from Impact Wrestling. Yes, the formerly known as TNA. If you want to listen to at least me talk more about wrestling, then just head on over to the Retrocast section. Just recorded an episode on Friday. It released this morning upon this recording. So hooray!
What'd you talk about?
We talked about lots of Japanese wrestling. We talked about WXW, the German promotion I like. Some WWE talk, so a little bit of everything. We even talked WCW Super Brawl 8.
That was the good one, right?
That was a good one. But we're here for Retro Gaming today. The OG cast, just me and Kevin today. Colin couldn't make it. He had some things to do instead.
Liar.
But me and Kevin are here to save the cast. We're talking our recent exposition to Retro World Expo in Connecticut. Yeah,
that's how you pronounce that. Good.
Yeah, that's exactly how you pronounce it. Hey, how else are you supposed to remember how to spell it?
I honestly, I still have issues.
We got the Nintendo Direct from September 13th to discuss. I got my notes here. You can see it right here in the live chat in front of me. Kevin, you also have the notes.
I do. I'm a good person.
You are definitely going to need those notes because you did not watch it, but I did. I watched it all. I also have a link in the notes that you might want to check out. Then we're going into our theme of the episode that I have so humbly chosen as turn-based strategy games. A genre that I feel doesn't get enough love. Does it get enough love, Kevin? Do you get enough love?
Oh, that's getting personal. I thought we were going to talk about this. Bah!
Okay.
Yeah, Scarlett Bordeaux comes and takes care of me. Turn-based strategy is...
Hold on, as I got to change my pants all of a sudden.
Yes.
Making sexy back. Or bringing sexy... Oh, whatever.
I'm making sexy back, yes.
Bah. That's gonna be a bad theme in this episode.
I hope you just the whole description of this episode.
That's gonna be the first word of the cast in the iTunes description for sure. By the way, you can find the Red Leaf Retrocast, iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher Smart Radio. If you so choose to enjoy this cast, yes, it is a choice. Head on over to iTunes and Stitcher, subscribe, leave a review. Helps us get more known out there in the world of So, yes. What was my question to you, Kevin? I already bod.
Oh, good. You already bod. If turn-based strategy games get enough love,
yes.
Here's the thing. As somebody who used to be in love with the genre, man, is it real? It's got a lot of issues with a lot of random number generation, a lot of complex systems most of the time, and you can think you're real good, and then the game comes over and spanks you. And there's a lot of luck involved sometimes.
Sometimes, yes, indeed.
Which is why I kind of fell out of love with the genre. But we'll get there.
I definitely played it more as a. I played it more around the PS2 era, and I've grown to appreciate it. That's for sure. Not a lot of games came out retro style, but we did get 6 of them. That's how many. But first, let's introduce, as we usually begin each cast, what games we've been playing not related to the podcast. Kevin, let's start with you. I can guess a certain Marvel superhero you've possibly been playing.
That's right. I am playing the very anticipated, highly requested Ant-Man game.
Oh.
Or Spider-Man. Spider-Man's good too.
The latest shovelware for the Nintendo's platform?
No, it's actually it's on mobile.
Is there really an Ant-Man game on mobile?
I don't fucking know. All I know is Ant-Man and Spider-Man can both be killed with a can of Raid. But Spider-Man's fun. I'm about, I don't know, 5 hours into it. It's real good. For an open world game, I heard it's pretty short, which kind of sucks, but there's so many things to do in it, I don't really mind. I normally have a issue with open world games and doing side quests. I kind of want to just
yes, I'm the same way.
Yeah, let's get to the story. Let's get what's going. But this has the same wonderful thing in it that Ghost Recon Wildlands did, where I did a side quest, I got something, I got it now, and it did something right away. So I'm going around finding...
I know what you mean on that. I do appreciate that about Spooderman. I am 100% behind the way you type that to me. I was like, what are you playing? You're like, Spooderman. I go, I love that name.
Spooderman, whatever you want to call him.
Oh, boy. Bah, indeed.
Bah.
I'm the same way. I mean, I'm not a Spider-Man fan myself, but we actually covered a Spider-Man game recently, I think a couple casts ago, and I quite enjoyed that game, and I'm enjoying this Spider-Man game as well, even though I don't like Spider-Man. It's more like the villains, and the symbiote suits never got me. That's besides the point. It's really fun to swing around in the game. I can't wait to talk about it on the Modern Gaming Cast episode, personally. So the side quests don't do, like, okay, I agree with you, Kevin, that the instant gratification of getting something is quite nice. I don't agree with the fact that it reminds me too much of the older Assassin's Creed games.
I do not get that feeling at all.
With the getting the towers to unlock maps, you know, it feels like an Ubisoft game more than an Insomniac type thing. But
I like that system, so I'm not complaining. That's a me thing, obviously, but I like that feeling. Other than that, like, hey, Oscorp put all these towers in and they don't work. Who would have guessed? Am I right? Okay.
Right, and then there's like there's some side missions there that just get super repetitive, at least with me, with, you know, going through the pollution smokes and or chasing down pigeons. Like, I'm like, I don't want to do any of that. And you don't but the thing that Spooderman does well is you don't have to do all that. You can pick and choose the missions just to get that instant upgrade. So it's really minor complaints. That's about it.
The only missions I didn't like doing at first was taking pictures of landmarks, because it wasn't really clear how you did it. Mm-hmm. Because you get there and it's like, oh, bring up the camera, and then it just says like, okay, bring up the camera, and then I was like, I can't take the picture. R1 wasn't going. Little did I know you have to bring up the camera, hold L2, and then hit R1. I was like, it never told me that. Oh, you gotta
focus that, yeah.
It never told me that, so I was like, I'm passing by the Empire State, but I'm like, this is a landmark, I think. It seems pretty important. So, yeah, other than that part, and it's just good. I don't mind the side missions, because I don't, like I was telling you, I don't expect them to infinitely come up with ideas. Like, it's just something to do. You want a crime token? Here's a crime token. Shut up.
I wish there was more boss fights, though. I'm 6 hours in the game, and I've only had 2 of them. So
who'd you get?
Who'd I face?
Yeah, I did Shocker and Kingpin. Well, Kingpin's early.
Well, okay, let's see. There's 3 of them, I guess, technically, because there's Fisk at the start, but that's more of a tutorial. Right. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't count that as a boss fight, personally.
Yeah.
There's Shocker. I think you fought him twice.
Yeah, one was like a fake fight, though.
A fake, like, chase thing. Much like with Mr. Negative, it was a chase more than a fight. And then Tombstone.
I haven't gotten there yet. Okay. So
Tombstone's like this biker dude. I have no idea who this guy is. So
I think they made 1 or 2 for the game, I thought.
Oh, okay.
And every time I hear Negative or Mr. Negative, I think of Negative Man from Earthbound, the minor enemy that just goes, I just can't win.
That's right. That is an enemy.
And I really hope there's a crossover.
Yeah. The game I've been playing is Shadow of the Tomb Raider, which I got 3.5 days early. I got it on Tuesday before the Friday release. Yeah, GameStop called me Tuesday afternoon. They're like, hey, we were allowed to have a special early release. Will you come down and get it? Like, yeah, I'll be there. And I'm 60% through that game as well, pretty much. And the game does a lot of things well, but only once or twice.
What do you mean?
That's my so, like, Lara has this really cool stealth thing where she can, like, slather mud on her body and hide. Use that to then enable her to hide within certain walls, like vine walls, like Predator style. But I've played so much of the game, and it's only happened twice in the game. So it does have an emphasis on more stealth stuff. So hence the shadow part. But it feels like I get why people aren't, like, raving about it. First of all, it came out, like, right after Spider-Man. It has that Horizon Zero Dawn thing where it came out right after Breath of the Wild, you know?
First of all, Horizon Zero Dawn far surpassed Breath of the Wild. I said it. Don't you dare talk shit.
If I remember correctly, I think I ranked it higher in my yearly rankings. But anyways, it feels like an old school old school Tomb Raider game. where it's more about traversing the environment and figuring out where you need to go and how you need to like figure out a couple puzzles here and there, rather than what Rise of the Tomb Raider was, which was mostly gun battles. You know what I mean?
I don't, because I haven't played any of the new Tomb Raiders yet, but I'm listening.
Yeah. And the other thing I think it suffers from is it's just the third one, you know? Yeah,
and the main complaint I've heard from other people, like other podcasts and stuff, is everyone's like, this is the game where she becomes the Tomb Raider, and I feel like that's been the message every new Tomb Raider. Like, I thought
the reboot was.
That's what I thought, and then I remember Rise was like, no, she's rising to become the Tomb Raider. I'm like, okay, all right, we're building something, and then this one, I heard the same message. I'm like, guys, is she the Tomb Raider or is she not?
You know what this game does? You know what Shadow of the Tomb Raider does really well, though? That it does do more than once is it encourages you to seek out the tombs in this one. I got none of that from Rise, which is what I really missed, because the first one had it available, but you had to backtrack. You do have to backtrack in this for about half the tombs. But when you do get to a tomb, I took some excellent screenshots of one tomb I came across where it was this old Spanish galleon in an underground cavern that had collapsed, and you're moving about like the bows and sails to traverse into the captain's quarters to get in there. And it was really cool. Like, just this giant galleon, you're just traversing around. I was like, this feels like what Tomb Raider should be. And I know a lot of people aren't going to agree with that statement, because the majority of people loved the gun battles from Rise. And it's just not to me, playing Tomb Raider since the inception of it, I even have the Sega Saturn Tomb Raider, which I actually do like. It was traversing the environment. It wasn't about the gun battles. So that's just me as a Tomb Raider fan. I'm still marking out to it hard. It's still fun being Lara and just climbing shit.
All right.
Yeah. Well,
I need to play those.
The originals?
Yes, all of them.
All of them.
I've dabbled in one Tomb Raider when I was like 6, other than the ones I've tried out for the cast, and it's just like.
What did we play? The first one for the cast?
I believe it was the first one. I know we dabbled in one of them, but
no. I think it was just the first one.
Yeah, it was one of them. I can't. They all look the same on the PS1, so I'm like,
I'd be so down for like a Tomb Raider cast.
I don't know if I could do all of them, because I get burnt out. Like, if I do more than one game at a time, like in the series, I'd be like, yeah.
Well, you just you play like we encourage here on this cast, play like at least a couple hours of each game, just to get an idea for it. And if you're into it, then you'd keep playing. If you're not, well then. Obviously, you might not even make it the 2 hours. Like I'm guilty of on a few games. Ren and Stimpy on one cast, I didn't make it like past level 1.
I think we got the full game in that.
Yeah, I think we did as well. You get the idea. I mean, a Tomb Raider cast wouldn't be out of the. I mean, for me, it would be a lot of recollection, really. But yeah, like starting with Tomb Raider 2, and then maybe picking like a Game Boy Tomb Raider and then the PS2 one to see what a shitty Tomb Raider is. It's like the only one I've ever hated. But you get the idea. So
yeah.
Any other games you've been playing, or really just balls deep in Spooderman?
Yeah. So side note of that, I was at work and somebody asked what I was doing this weekend. I'm like, I'm gonna be balls deep Spider-Man. I was like, hold on, let me rephrase that. But no, I've also been playing Octopath Traveler a lot, and as we were saying before,
still at it.
It's a good gameplay RPG, but I don't give a shit about anyone's story in this but Primroses. Everyone's story kind of sucks. They don't intertwine. But man, the gameplay's real fun, and the endorphin rush you get of doing Bewildering Grace. I love that move, even if it will heal a boss and you have to do it all over again. I did a bad thing once. I think you were watching that stream, weren't you?
I just turned off my air real quick.
Yes.
I forgot to do that.
I was saying the Bewildering Grace when I healed the boss again. I think you were watching there, right?
I was. I laughed my ass off during it.
You're an asshole, but I deserve it. I saw the clip of that. Future JD, insert clip.
Oh boy. Well, all right. Let's get into our first discussion topic, which was Retro World Expo. What do you say?
I love the Retro Worlds.
Okay, let me play this drop, and then we can get into it.
What's the drop?
I played the Contra drop just for you, Kevin.
Yeah. Yes, I do love me some Contra Force.
We all do. Oh, Contra Force specifically.
the good one.
All right, so we got the members of the Red Leaf Retrocast all met in Connecticut.
Yes.
Hartford for the Retro World Expo. This was your idea, Kevin. You just kind of said, I'm going to this, and I go, oh, that's nearby.
Well, nearby-ish. Yeah, that's right. You're only, what, an hour and a half-ish?
Yeah, it's a couple hours.
Yeah.
It's not bad.
It was a good.
It was
the
fun.
show was a good. So this was I didn't go last year, so this is my first time when they moved to a bigger venue. And I gotta say, they used the space well, but it's weird because it's a smaller expo in a bigger room, so I felt like there wasn't so much going on. It was a weird like juxtaposition, but once you really got into it, man, did I find the deals. They made me sweat.
It was kind of overwhelming with how much under I don't want to say underpriced, but it felt like it was just a whole sale on retro gaming.
Yeah,
something we haven't been able to see for a while.
There were good convention prices because normally like convention prices are like top of the line eBay price. Like this, you want something expensive, this is where you're gonna buy it thing. You know. But then again, we also had some people who were selling the same game for $25 more than another booth was. When that's capitalism.
Oh yeah, sure. Like, I finally got myself a copy of Castlevania 4, and at one booth it was $30, which is the one I got it from. And then literally the booth across was selling it for $60.
Yep. So we were like, well,
dude.
I think the instance I had with that was I found 2 Final Fight 2s in Super Famicom. One was $22, one was $8. I bought the $8 one, obviously.
Right.
So, yeah, you had a lot of good vendors, a lot of weird vendors. Some guys that were kind of just, I don't even know where they got the prices from. I kind of feel like they drew them out of a hat.
Yeah, it seems that way, especially with, I saw a lot of copies of, like, Lunar and Lunar 2 and Alundra, and they were just double in price of what you could get off eBay, and I was really confused.
Right. Yeah, if that's what people want to do, sure. Doesn't mean I'm going to buy it.
Well, what are a couple? We made a whole video on it's on Kevin's YouTube page, Console Kev.
Yes.
Link is.
Which, by the way, you can steal if you ever want to upload it yourself.
Well, link is in the description to Kevin's channel, so you can check out all the games we got. I just want to know, like, what are a couple of your favorite games? I know you played Pocket Bomberman. I watched the first couple of videos you put out of it. I have to have that game now for the Game Boy.
I'm going to warn you now, if you don't have something with save states, you're going to get real upset later on, because the game gets real hard.
Well, I'm sure it does.
Yeah, it's a good game. That would probably be my number 2 pick. My number 1 being Super Mario RPG on Super Famicom, just because I was literally talking about how I needed a game, or a copy of that.
Right.
But even a reproduction is like $40 or $50. So that's number 1, and then I'll only do a top 3. So that, Pocket Bomberman, and third, just for the weirdness of it, because I'd never heard of it before, play is that game. What was it? Doomsday Warrior.
Oh yeah.
That I picked up. I still haven't played it, but it just looks so metal as fuck on the cover art. I was like, I must play this.
You must play.
Yeah, so I'm probably going to do that soon. I've kind of just got cartridge games because I'm trying to rebuild those collections back up.
Yeah, you're getting you're taking advantage of GameStop's retro store. Online
I did. I actually traded in a well, because the first time I did another video on that, plugs, of what condition they'd be in, because I was really curious. They all came pretty good minus F-Zero on Super Nintendo. But then I had 4 DualShock 4s. I was like, I don't need 4 of them. I only want the ones with the light bars on the touchpad. So I went and traded them in yesterday. Couldn't find anything for Switch because disappointment.
Yeah.
So I just said, I'll go look on their online catalog and see what stuff they got. And I got some more coming in. I think the highlight being TMNT 3 for $30-ish, which is one game I wanted that at the Expo to bring it back around. But I couldn't find anybody selling it for less than 30, or it was kind of up in the 40s. But I figured, hey, store credit, I'll do it for that.
Right.
Yeah. And you got some gems.
I did. I got, I think the number one would definitely be the Legend of Hero Tonma on the PC Engine. Repro of the game go for $50 minimum. And that's just the game, like no extra cartridge or anything, or game case. This guy here just, he goes, yeah, it's, I think he told me 60, and then I go, well, if I get another game, will you throw something in? And he goes, yeah, and then I'll throw in a turbo graphics case, and I'll even throw the manual in for this game just because I guess no one was buying turbo stuff, which makes sense actually at these conventions and expos. Like, the system just doesn't get a lot of, I mean, hardcore collectors do like it. I just don't think a lot of people seek out the games and actually play them. But
that system's kind of a money pit. As I was talking, even the guy selling stuff was like, yeah, it can be a money pit. Like,
it can be, yeah. But I didn't overspend. I mean, I went to this thing with in mind that I wanted to spend at least kind of $50 on a more rare game. That's rare for me, anyways. The price range, and that's what I ended up picking up. Really cool. It's a platformer. It's one of the more unknown ones out there, but it's really solid. So I was definitely, it's been on my list for quite some time. I got Bloody Wolf with it, so that was pretty cool.
The game is so good.
Yeah, it's like Contra. It's another like Contra type game, or It feels more like a Rambo game.
Yeah. You also got a game I highly recommend that most people don't know about yet. Will.
Oh yeah.
The Heavenly Guardians.
The Heavenly Yeah. So that was kind of the blind buy. Let's put that as number 2. Why not? That's my number 2 one coming, is the Heavenly Guardians. You said it was, you just kind of put it in my face and you go, this is like Pocky and Rocky 3. I'm like, I like Pocky and Rocky.
Yeah, it's something nobody knows about, really. It's kind of becoming more known, but I think I actually reminded my friend of it. He goes, oh yeah, Snow Princess Waifu Adventures, my favorite game. Which is pretty accurate, but the gameplay plays like Pocky.
Yeah, and if I can get a repro of Pocky and Rocky, that'd be cool. But I got Pocky and Rocky 3 essentially with the Heavenly Guardians, and never looked back. I did pop it in, played it for like an hour, and I go, I like this game.
How far did you get? Because it's hard.
It's really hard. I think I only got to like level 2.
You're gonna be suffering for a while when you try to beat it, but man, is it worth it?
Yeah, so it's super fun. It's well worth it. I think, what did I pay? $6 or $7 for it? It wasn't very much.
I think it was like 7.
Yeah. And number 3, let's see. Oh. Not Driver, not Road Rash 2. I mentioned it, Castlevania 4. I want all the mainstay good Castlevania games, so that's one more off the list. All I have left is Castlevania 3 on the NES. It's good. They run for a lot. I got it for probably half off what it normally sells it for, so it felt good. And I've never truly played Castlevania 4. I've only seen people play it.
Audible gasp.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm very happy to finally have Castlevania 4 in my possession. So cool.
It's such a good.
One thing that we did there, like a little Red Leaf Retrocast challenge between all the 3 of us, is a couple pinball machines.
My other favorite hobby.
I do like pinball machines. I'm not into it as much as you are. You definitely know a lot more about them, for sure. But I definitely like playing them. I mean, we were talking about how, at least I was reminiscing about in my grandfather's basement in Chicago. He had a big Earthshaker pinball machine, and anytime I visited him, I always wanted to get the high score, and I just spend hours in the basement playing the pinball machine.
And he's like, can't get down from there. You're going to find my old Playboy. Maybe. I don't know.
Bowling alley, I'd always play the pinball machines over the arcade machines, because the arcade machines were usually broken, unless they got the new one in. So. And
you did play what is my current favorite pinball machine of Black Knight 2000, which you didn't love as much.
Yeah, I didn't really like that one. It's got that second deck, which is all well and good, but it's got that big, like divider that you hit, that the ball will hit, and it seems like it's too close to the flippers, so you can't react in time.
Yes. I get the claims you have with it. I'm not going to dismay them. But I love that, and because I love the '80s crazy rock it throws in the background. The more you play, with the voice of Shao Kahn intimidating you.
Yeah, that part's cool.
Where it literally goes, "Give me your money."
Yeah, well, with the way you're gonna hit that bar all the time, you'll definitely be throwing quarters at it.
And I will gladly, Mr. Khan.
Yeah, I actually like the other pinball machine we played more of, and that was
Funhouse.
Funhouse. Yeah, that was cool. It was definitely harder than what was the other one called?
Black Knight 2000.
Black Knight 2000. It was definitely harder.
A lot of variety on that table.
But there was a lot of shit you could hit, and a lot of bonuses. There was a slight second deck to it, but it was more centered, more focused at the top of the board. So it didn't feel like it was a cramped pinball machine. I think that's the word I was looking for Black Knight.
I thought I lost you. You cut out audio there for a second.
No, well, what is your feeling over Funhouse?
I love Funhouse. I actually played a lot of it first on. I think it's on Pinball Arcade as well, but I think I have the collection on the Wii, which is a good way to play the Williams Arcade collection. I think you get on 360 and PS2 as well. So if you want to try that out, definitely go there. You also, I believe all the Williams tables are getting taken off Pinball Arcade, so you can. I think Zen Pinball FX3 is picking them up. So try them out. I recommend Funhouse. I recommend Black Knight. A lot of Williams tables are real good, and this expo had a bunch of them. Which I love.
Yeah. Did you ever get to play the Deadpool pinball machine?
I didn't. But I like the new pinball machines where instead of that little LCD board, they have like video going, and it kind of shows the action there. I enjoy that. I never seen that before until actually today.
Yeah. I think the best attraction, we didn't get to play, but we did get to watch, was the magnetic Pong machine.
Oh, yeah, I'm really pissed I didn't get to play that.
Yeah, there was always a long line waiting for that. Yeah. And there was the one Asian guy that was just wrecking everybody. So it wasn't like people were cycling out. It was just this one guy beating everybody. But it's really cool. I put up a short video that I took of the machine on the Instagram at BowlingJD or Red Leaf Retrocast. Seek it out. You can see the short video of the magnetic Pong machine. It's really cool. It's a good little modern adaptation to what Pong is.
The Gram.
Yeah, on the Gram. And then there were a lot of arcade games there. I think the one I was most fascinated with was the Afterburner arcade machine. I've never seen one before. Oh yeah, the nice rumbling it has to it. That was real good. Yeah, the huge rumbling, the way the flight stick that it has in the game fights you with turbulence and everything. Well, at least that's what it tries to simulate. Really
look, man, the 80s tried, okay?
Yeah, the good 80s try. What did you get to? Well, we played some fight. There was a lot of fighting arcade machines. I did beat Colin in Killer Instinct, which I love fighting games, like, because nobody will play them with me, really. But the thing is, like, I'm not good on an arcade stick because I got like a bad left wrist, so like holding the angle I have to do is weird. But I just kind of spam speed buttons, and I won Killer Instinct 2. It was two. And then what else we played? We played. There was some racing game I can't remember the name of that was interesting. You played Cruising World, I think, or Cruising USA. It was one of the two. Yeah, I did that one. There was one that was more polygonal. I can't remember. I mean, that was pretty polygonal. But it was like 32x graphics. That looking, I can't remember the name of it now. I tried out a few other ones. There was I wanted to play, but it was broken. Yeah, there was a few broken ones. I don't even know why they even have them there. Well, I do. I know the answer to this because the guy that runs the expo, my old boss, owns all of those. He owns them all. He just throws them all on the floor. Yeah, well, they are supposed to work for the expo. I'm sure something's got to get repaired. So like he takes care of them. It's just a shame when something doesn't. I think the one that was the most strange, the arcade game was I forget the name, but it had a trackball, and it was like a Q*bert kind of isometric game. Crystal Castles? Well, maybe that was what it was called. But you go around this isometric board, and you control the character with a trackball, and you got to collect all the dots via like a Pac-Man type thing. But the character moves. Right? You were a bear? Maybe.
Yeah, Crystal Castles, I think.
Yeah,
I think that was
Crystal...
it. For,
yeah, Crystal Castles, yeah. The character moves so freaking fast, it's impossible to control. And the game was pretty easy, too. The game felt pretty easy, but yeah. Retro World Expo was a lot of fun. If I'm still living in the area, maybe we'll go next year.
Having to enjoy it.
Yeah. All right, well, as I play this next drop, it's time to discuss the Nintendo Direct. And, so, Nintendo had a Direct, Mr. Kevin.
I knew it was gonna have one, but man, did I not.
Well, it's okay, because I took some notes here, and that's really all you need to know about the Direct. So, is it not even worth it?
It's, you know how Luigi's Mansion 1, you're in a giant mansion?
Yeah.
So, Dark Moon is a bunch of smaller mansions with their own unique puzzle that you have to figure out, and I really actually like it. I like it better than the first one, but, you know, I might be in the minority there.
Okay.
I recommend it, at least. How's that?
Fair enough. I'm excited for Luigi's Mansion. It's about time they brought him. They brought it back to console. Yeah.
The only thing I don't like is that, it has a co-op mode, which is neat.
I think they're remaking or reporting the first one to Switch, and then they're adding co-op to it. And both people have to have the game. Otherwise, only the boss battles will be co-op.
Alright, that's fine, but the thing that I thought was stupid, and this is like the definition of a fucking un-Nintendo move, is that instead of like anyone else in the Mario cast to join Luigi along, you have to play as like highlight green, untextured Luigi.
Yeah, pretty lazy.
Which I was like, Mario maybe, like Toad, maybe like even Waluigi. Yeah, like anybody you could have picked. No, Green or Mario. Okay. Yeah. Great.
Yeah, well, next is I don't have many thoughts about really. Well, fuck it. Let's Kirby's Epic Yarn Extra to 3DS and Switch.
Oh, why?
So it's a port of Kirby's Epic Yarn, but they've added stuff, and they called it Extra instead of Deluxe.
Why though? Who was asking for that?
I don't know. Maybe it's because the Kirby Star Allies maybe didn't do too well.
It didn't? I thought it did okay. No?
I enjoyed it. I got 5 hours out of the game. It's a Kirby game.
I enjoyed it. It was far too easy, but that's...
It's a Kirby game.
Yeah, but Triple Deluxe wasn't that easy.
Woolly's World.
It's Woolly World. Man, it's not possessive.
Is it just Woolly World? I thought it was Woolly's World.
Yoshi's Woolly World.
Well, my last name's Woolly, so maybe I'm just being possessive.
I keep trying to say Woodley too, and I'm wrong every time.
I'll probably end up getting this, to be honest.
Yeah, it looks neat. I don't know. I feel like if I haven't beaten Woolly World, what am I like missing? But probably nothing.
Though, this is the type of game where if I'm deathly ill and I'm like bedridden, this is the game I'd play. Because it requires no thought, and I'm just like, relaxing music. Oh.
Until you're like, God damn it, baby Mario, stop screaming.
Well, that's a different Yoshi's game.
It plagues me. It haunts me.
Next one was Bowser's Inside Story to 3DS. So it's another Mario Luigi RPG game, but this time with Bowser.
Well, it's a remake of the DS game.
Oh, well, okay.
Yeah, which it was good. So I'm cool with that.
Katamari Damacy Reroll is coming to Switch, so co-op and versus mode is what they are adding, pretty much.
Katamari Damacy is the original, right?
Yes.
I have that sealed on PS2. I should play that.
Funny story about Katamari Damacy. When I was living in Louisiana, I went to a used game store and they had the dime, like a bunch of disc games that were too scratched or whatever to sell. Full price. So they just put them in this stack, and if you wanted one, you just give them a dime. So I'd always get like the change out on my car and just like take a whole bunch and see what would work. Katamari Damacy was one of them. It works on my PS2 just totally fine.
Really?
And I guess so. I got it for 10 cents.
have you completed it though? Like, does it play all the way? It plays all the way through.
It plays all the way through.
Ooh.
I have a few games that work all the way through that I got for 10 cents at that store. So that's just a funny little backstory there. Good.
Ooh.
A lot of people need to play this game. It's super fun. It's goofy.
Yeah.
The Pokemon people, Game Freak, are making an RPG called Town. Looks interesting. Not much else to say there. So it's a
really?
name in progress. Yeah.
Town?
It's called Town.
Man, I love Animal Crossing.
Yeah, right?
So, okay.
Not much else is known really about it, other than that.
Yeah.
Lots of Final Fantasy ports coming, but not Final Fantasy 8. So they got 7, 9, 10, a chibi, like, 15 version is coming out.
Oh, the Pocket Edition, yeah.
Yeah, and 12 is coming. So they skipped 8. I'm very confused why they're skipping 8.
Because 8's not that great.
Oh, come on. If they're going to put all of them on there, why did they skip 8 specifically? What was the reason?
It's not that great. They wanted a greatest hits collection of them.
They put all of them there, but 8. All the 3D ones. I don't understand.
The greatest hits. As in, look, you're the shitty one. Also, 8 killed Legend of Dragoon, so fuck them.
Oh my god.
Oh wait, that was 9. Never mind.
Yeah.
Fuck them anyway.
I just thought it was a weird omission that they put all of them on there except 1.
So, random question. So, how do you feel like if every RPG had a chibi, instead of 40 hours, play 6 hours and get the full story edition?
Fine.
Yeah, it's kind of weird that like 15's there. It's like, hey, you want to play 15, but not really? Here you go.
It's fine.
It's weird. I mean, I know it's choices for everybody. I'm just like, this is weird that this exists. Like,
I think it's cool that the Switch is getting a Final Fantasy 15 version in itself, and the fact that it's different kind of makes it interesting in its own little way.
I'm so tired. I'm so sorry. I will not be playing this edition, but I'm interested to see the reaction to it, I guess.
I'm the same. I'm the same way. I won't be getting it personally. That's a game I would definitely watch a Let's Play of, though. The Chibi 15. Just to see how it goes down.
What was the other ones that there's 10 and 10-2 was coming, which is a 12.
Yeah,
and
all of them
7. But 7 is
9,
like,
10, 10-2, 12, and 15, a chibi version.
I'm curious to see which 7 shows up. If it's like the PlayStation 7 or like the Steam slightly higher resolution 7.
I'm sure it's just the PlayStation 7.
Yeah.
I'm sure these are just straight ports of the game. All right, so then they did a horrendously teaser of Isabelle talking, has this whole thing. Isabelle's the dog from Animal Crossing, and turns out she's the next character in Smash, and then you're just like, oh, she's also felt this like come over you. You go, oh, come on, Nintendo. And then
she's
after it was
passively aggressive too.
Yeah. After it was all over, then it went back to Tom Nook. He's all like at his desk and sad, and he goes, "Oh, maybe I should have been in the game too, or something." And then it goes Animal Crossing 2019. You're like, "All right, now we're talking here."
I don't know. I thought that was weird.
This is a ported reboot of the GameCube game, though.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, they don't really need to make that game a series. They could just make here's Animal Crossing again and put it on the Switch. You know,
pretty much. As long as I don't know, Animal Crossing's fun. Yeah. It's goofy and fun and simplistic. I'm hyped. They definitely. I think Nintendo for 2019, saying it's coming out in that year specifically. I don't think they've announced really anything for 2019 specifically. Yeah,
but they're also not ones to like announce things really far ahead, except like Prime 4. That was it.
Yeah. Well, we know they're making it. That's a good sign.
Maybe.
Now for the big reveal, Kevin, though.
Oh.
Switch Online. I think it launches like Wednesday upon recording here.
That's finally.
And the fact that we knew it was coming, but we knew like nothing about it. We just had a bunch of assumptions, and they finally have this direct a week out of Switch Online going online, where you have to now pay for it.
Nerds.
They announced classic NES controllers coming, which look really cool. They're just like the ones that snap on the side of your Switch, and they look just like Nintendo Switch NES controllers. However, there's a catch. They will only work with Switch Online NES games. So before they said that part, I want those controllers. They look fucking amazing. I would play Octopath with them all fucking day, for example. But then they go, it'll only work with Switch Online NES games. I go, well, now I don't want them anymore. I don't need them.
So here's the thing about that. One, there's another fucking Nintendo move right there. Two, is the 8-bit do ones already exist, and they work with everything?
Yeah, exactly.
So why do I mean, I know Nintendo made me be like, we're Nintendo, buy our shit, but like, I don't see why anyone would want these.
It's just that typical Nintendo move of here's a cool peripheral, but we're only making it half as good as it could be. You know?
Yeah. It's
very disappointed in that. But yeah, like you said, very Nintendo of them. So now onto the Switch Online information. Cloud saves are coming as long as you keep your subscription active. So what that means is, as soon as let's say you only get 3 months, and you go, I want to take like a month off because I'm like going on vacation or something for 30 days, and then I'll come back. As far as we know, if you keep saved files on the cloud and your subscription expires, those files will then be immediately deleted.
Pretty fucked up.
It's pretty messed up. So that's not to compare it. If you have your files saved on PlayStation or Xbox, they're still on the cloud. They're just behind that paywall, you know. Right. But they're still there.
But the thing is, at least they give you the option to save it to like a thumbstick or something.
Right. Yeah, you can't do that with
Nintendo goes, they go no.
Yeah. So
even better,
Nintendo.
Those cloud saves don't work with everything.
Right, which I was
That's dumb.
Not quite understanding. Like, I get... So not all games will support cloud storage, such as Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee were announced to not be supported with cloud storage, which seems odd. And Splatoon 2 won't be, and they claim that this is to prevent cheaters with, like, leaderboards with putting your save file on the cloud, and then if you, like, go down in rank, you'll just re-upload, and I go, well, who cares?
But that doesn't make sense.
Fix your leaderboards, like, then.
Shouldn't the game keep track of that? Like, because like Call of Duty, everything's tracked on their server.
Exactly.
So that doesn't make sense to me. And also, if you wanted to worry about that, like, I heard one instance somebody claimed like, "Oh, what if you trade like a ho-oh and then you just reload your save, you get your ho-oh back?" Be like, so make it when you trade, the game goes saving. Don't shut this off like every other Pokemon game does.
Right.
And then just go, if you shut this off, your file is corrupted. Like.
Yeah, just fix the system.
No, it's Nintendo just refusing to go. How do they do it?
Right.
Oh, fuck that. No, that didn't make too much sense. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of this is rubbing me the wrong way.
I don't want to pay for this.
Yeah, I don't want to pay for this either. I was already hesitant to begin with because I was like, all right, let's see how the Switch Online is. How is the store going to be? I'm still going to have access to the store, so who cares then, right?
I don't like how they're handling their classic game releases, even though, like, everyone's like, oh, you get 20 games. I'm like, that's not a lot, and also, I don't care to play Mario Brothers online. Like,
right. So 29 NES games are coming in the first 3 months of online play, 20 at launch. If you're watching the live stream, Polygon has a nice full... Nintendo Switch Online NES game list, and the catch is that a lot of these games are the multiplayer or co-op games, and you can play these now online. So it's a lot of the games taken from the NES Mix collection. That's what I'm gathering, like Balloon Fight and Mario 3 and what have you. So you can play them online. Okay, great. Why can't I just buy the game outright?
Don't use logic. It's not allowed.
Yeah, the logic here just... I feel like I'm I feel like I'm running down a WWE event with you use logic. Well, then now you're gonna hurt your brain. Not like this anymore. Yeah. But yeah, needless to say, Switch Online, I will not be getting it. I don't like what they're doing here. There's still a lot of questions. I've played 40 hours of Splatoon 2. I do like the game. I don't need to play it online. There's a story mode and whatever. If I want to boot up Splatoon 2, I'll play that again. I had fun. But
yeah, I don't know if I'm about this whole thing. I don't know. Nintendo's just doing it bad.
Give me a virtual console.
I mean, I don't even think it's like when they said like, don't call it the virtual console because that's like a marketing name. Look, man, these games take up like 100 megabytes for the whole library. It does not take a lot to just put them on your store. They just won't, and it's fucking annoying.
Yeah, it's quite irritating. And they won't transfer your stuff from console to console, and that's irritating as well. Bad move, Nintendo. Bad move.
Yeah, so
I am hyped for Luigi's Mansion 3 and a lot of the some other games. There was Deus Machina or whatever the fucking mech game is they showed off again. That looks cool, but still don't really know much about it. It reminded me of Freedom Wars.
Ooh, yeah, I forgot to mention I was playing that too, but yeah, it looks okay.
Investigate 311. What are you talking about, Kevin?
If you watch Eric Andre, you'll understand.
Oh, all right.
Yeah,
I am familiar with his work.
He's a funny man.
Any other final thoughts over this Nintendo Direct?
Look, man, can you just stop being Nintendo? Like, it sounds really dark. And I mean it in the nicest way if I can. When Iwata died, I was like, oh, that sucked. But my first thought was, can somebody with a fucking brain run this company now? And man, it's just not going the way I want still.
It's still a company steeped in this hardcore Japanese culture, and it's definitely falling over. You see that with Sony being stubborn about the crossplay thing, but hey, they're Sony. They're number one in the game now. They can do what they want. I personally don't give two shits about crossplay.
Yeah, I don't either. I think that idea is like overblown to death.
Oh yeah, I think so as well. It's console competition. Why wouldn't you do that?
Yeah.
You know, I don't when I'm playing basketball against someone, I don't give the ball to the teammate and go, "Hey, will you shoot this three for me?"
Yeah, I feel like it's very over. It's overdone. I care about like cross buy would be a thing, but that was like in your fucking dreams, you know.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know what you mean though. Alrighty, I think that does it for those discussion topics. Nice, quick, and simple.
Yeah.
Just the way I like it.
Yeah.
I shall play this Phantasy Star drop, and we'll move on to our main theme, turn-based strategy games. There we go, nice and quick. Bang. Done.
Bang.
Believe that?
Yeah. If I had $1 every time I heard am I that satisfied? Am I right? Okay.
Alrighty. So turn-based strategy games, for those not familiar with turn-based strategy games, they all kind of play out in the same way, the same concept. Think of like a platformer where you're just jumping over enemies, jumping over chasms. You might have a power-up or two, and then you go left to right, get from point A to point B, you're done. Maybe a boss fight at the end. Turn-based strategy is you have a set number of characters or character to play as, and you're on a grid-based map. Think of like a chessboard, and you take turns between moving your amount of characters or allies around the board within their, let's say, set skill, and you hit end turn. Then it goes to the enemy or the whoever you're fighting against or whatever you're fighting against. They do their set moves, and so on and so forth. Like, excuse me, Kevin?
Like Real War, you know? It's your turn!
Oh, right, yeah, exactly, just like real war. All right, we fired our limited number of shots for this round. Your turn. Haha, you missed because of algorithms.
Jesus is not on your side.
And each game will you'll do that until you might have a set objective for that map, for that board, or wipe the enemy out, and then a cutscene would normally happen of some kind to progress a story involved, or what have you, until you play that different boards 20 times till the end of the game. So that's what turn-based strategy is. It's very they can get very simplistic to very, very detailed and complicated. And I feel for the games we've chosen for this, we get a lot of variety here. Wouldn't you agree, Kevin?
Yes, no.
Yes, no.
I don't know, I feel like after a while, like turn-based strategy just becomes, like I said before, like good luck. You may have done everything right, but oh man, algorithms, like you said. Am I right?
To a degree. Well, why don't we jump headfirst into probably the most complicated game out of the 6 we're going to discuss. Really get it out of the way. And this one I had to play the longest. First of all, it was the only one on the list I hadn't played before. Or at least one of the series before. Let me make that clear. So I've always been interested in Romance of the Three Kingdoms. I think I knew a couple friends growing up who had, I think it was one of the PlayStation ones. That might have been 5 or 6 or something. Right. And they always talked about it as kind of this civilization war. Kevin, have you ever played Civilization?
Nope.
Never played Civilization?
Strategy's a hard genre for me, man.
So this is Romance of the Three Kingdoms 3. So it makes it a funny title. Dragon of Destiny. You can find...
Side note. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but at the expo, we saw, what did we see? 2? We saw 4. I think I saw 6. We saw number 9. Colin was looking for 3. I think this game has more fucking entries in this than I think the whole Final Fantasy series at this rate.
There's a lot of them, that's for sure. There's also a spin-off series, if I'm not mistaken, better known as Dragon Warrior, or oh my god, what? Dynasty Warriors. Dynasty Warriors. Wow, it's early.
Never heard of either of them.
Dragon Warrior is a different game altogether.
Yeah, it is.
Not to be confused with Dragon Power. Look at all the dragon stuff.
Dragon.
So, Romance of the Three Kingdoms 3, Dragon of Destiny, came out on the Super Nintendo and the Sega Genesis. Developed and published by Koei, not Koei Tecmo yet. Released in Japan 8th of November 1992 and North America 4th of February 1993. So not a lot of it came out pretty quickly. Good turnaround on the translation there. You can find the Super Nintendo version for $20, the Genesis version for $14, so they're not too expensive. And that's the other thing. These turn-based strategy games don't go for very much, I've noticed.
It's a very niche market.
Yeah.
That's the thing. And going back to what I said, being that it's so niche, I don't know fucking anyone that this is a strategy franchise, and there's so many of them. I don't understand why they keep making the series. There's a PS4 one.
Yeah, there is. Yeah. Well, I mean, they're steeped. The Romance series is steeped. It's based on this this novel called Romance of the Three Kingdoms, and there's a lot of lore and history involved with them. So I can definitely see the appeal to if you get invested in these at all. So it's notably the only Super Nintendo game to ever be fully translated into Chinese.
Really?
Yeah.
Random.
Yeah. I thought it was a good little fact. So the backstory is 3 dudes going for power in China to unite the people under one regime. Simple enough.
Yes.
Yep. You start off choosing between, okay, you know what? Kevin, forgive me, but I'm literally gonna read my notes here word for word because this shit gets complicated.
Yup.
Okay,
Go ahead.
So listeners, bear with me, because this is how ridiculous the game is.
Read along, children.
All right. You start off with choosing between 6 scenarios, better known as time periods, each with a different layout and warlords in power. Okay? I associated with them, assumed that the 6 scenarios were essentially the difficulty levels. With the more you get into the modern time periods, the more difficult they would get with technology and the people and land and what have you. You can play between 8 players and pass the controller between them. So I thought that was a cool little thing, cool little option available. So I chose Scenario 1, kept it simple. It is called Dongzhou's Rivals Unite, and it takes place in 189 AD. And each begins with a long list of rulers or warlords to choose from. And you can even create your own warlords in this particular Romance of the Three Kingdoms game. That's what kind of separated it from 2. Was a lot of custom creation in that, and it snuffed out a lot of the problems the first couple games had. Which is why I chose this one when I read that little fact.
You made bad decisions.
Yeah, well. Each warlord starts on a different part of China and has their own generals and whatnot underneath them, complete with their own stats. The game doesn't tell you any of the stats or where you start, or your general stats or anything. So you just got to kind of find that out when you choose them. So it's not like procedurally generated unless you pick the hard difficulty. Like the realistic one that they say, fictional is what they called it. If you choose historical, then it matches up with the novels. So if you choose one warlord that's historically in the northeastern part of China, and he made his way down, well, then that warlord will start there. If you pick fictional, then that's when it'll get randomly generated, and it gets more difficult from there. So then you're brought to a map of China with squares and lines, not really detailed at all. And I got heavy deja vu when I was playing this part, just as a side note. There are pink circles on the map representing battlefields where if an invasion were to occur to your town, they actually have to fight through these fields first. And they're not surrounding every city, they're just in different parts of the map. There are white squares in this map as well, and those are open cities to invade, so they're not under any warlord or ruler, so they're ripe for the picking. The warlord menu features basically a civilization-style gameplay. You have population, how much money, how much food you have, how many soldiers, land work, cultivation, harvest. There's actually a flood control situation that you need to pay attention to. So if your city is next to a river, during certain parts of the year that goes by during gameplay, you have to worry about flooding. I thought that was the most interesting aspect of this part of the game. Then there's, of course, economy, public support, and tax. So a lot of options are also abbreviated, so you definitely need the manual a lot for a lot of this. I had to look one up online to help me out through this. I immediately noticed a few things where population support is very important, and your general's charm levels. And that plays into, be it getting the people on your side, recruiting other generals, warlords, soldiers, what have you, recruiting people to spy from you. The charm level was very important. So it's a lot of menu surfing and trial and error to figure out like what affects what and how it affects it, and the list goes on and on and on. I 100%. Obviously, Kevin, I keep calling you Colin. I apologize.
Yeah, it's fine. I get how it is. I see what it is. You love him more.
Without this guide online, I would have been just learning this aspect of the game for hours and hours and hours. So instead, I just read an introduction YouTube walkthrough of what all this shit is. Took me half an hour, and then I was into the game.
This is too much work to put in for a fucking game.
It's a lot. And this came out in 1993.
Yeah, which means, like, no, I'm done. Like, I didn't get this far into it because everything you just said, nope. I could have played another game.
It is so incredibly detailed. I can totally understand why this would immediately turn people off. To me, there was a time when I was heavily into the Civilization games. I had about 3 of them. I had them on my cheap little laptop I brought to Germany when I was living over there. There was a good 3-month span where I only played Civ games. Only. So this wasn't as jarring to me, but it is a very complex version of that same concept of Civilization. So, but at the end of the day, unlike Civilization, where you're trying to build up cities or take over or build up technology or what have you, this is just straight up invade everybody because of that premise. Bring people under one regime. So your objective is to keep the people on your side and take over. So you know your objective. That right. In a way that makes it more simple. Because then you don't have the choice of deciding what route you're going to take. So, I did have fun with the game to an extent, but the amount of menu surfing was very unappealing, I must say.
Turn me off.
Yeah, it's definitely a turnoff.
I would not recommend this game unless you're deep into turn-based strategy, but if you are, you've probably found a better game by now, honestly.
This is not an entry point turn-based strategy game by any means. This is this to me is the cream de la crop of
the cream of the crop.
It's the cream of the crop, brother.
Yeah, dude.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Bah.
Bah.
So the game gets a pass from me, but only if you're a much more seasoned turn-based strategy person. There's just too much to talk about, really. It's that complicated of a game. I could go into intricate details on who to play with first and foremost, but that would require me playing any of the 20+ characters and creating a character. This is a game that you could give a child, right? A 10-year-old. You hear me out. You give the 10-year-old the game, and you go figure it out. This is the only game you're gonna have for the next 3 years. And then he might still be trying to figure it the fuck out.
This is not the game for the faint of heart, or
no,
or me, or just me.
So I spoke. Do you have anything else to say about Romance of the Three Kingdoms 3? Absolutely not. No,
it even the slightest.
It scared you. Admit it.
Yeah, this is not a Kevin game.
All right. So, Kevin, why don't you tell me about the next game that's on our list here?
I love me some Worms, let me tell you. So Worms is a little turn-based strategy game. I don't even know if you call it turn-based. Well, I mean, it is technically. So you're a bunch of worms on a generally randomized platform. You have your army of worms. I think of this one, you can name them whatever you want. So you can kind of customize it to your liking, name them after famous rappers or your friends. And the game gives you a slew of weapons to kind of figure out what they do. So you have a bazooka, which is pointed at it and things blow up. Or you get a sheep. What does that do? Oh, good luck. Figure it out. And you have to kind of mess with weapons to try to kill the other worms or knock them off the platform. It's a good time with a bunch of friends. I love Worms. It was made by, hold on. Yes, Team 17. I was right. I couldn't remember. They do weird stuff like this a lot, actually.
Mm-hmm, they do.
I'm more familiar with Armageddon.
Me too.
So going back and playing this one, while it's a good game and I would recommend, I would tell you go find Armageddon instead. I don't know how you feel about that.
Well, I mean, they all play pretty much the same. A lot of the Worms games. Armageddon is definitely more advanced. It works better. I think even Armageddon has been ported to even modern consoles, so that should tell you what it needs. But I played the PlayStation version personally because I don't own the Saturn version, and I was able to emulate the PlayStation.
Ooh.
Yeah.
MJD, I'm fancy. Look at me.
So, came out. Both versions came out in 1996. It's the first Worms is imported to a slew of consoles. The PlayStation version goes for $10. The Saturn version goes for $20. Published by Ocean Software, It is. I would definitely consider this turn-based. It's artillery-based because you're still taking turns. Pick your worms. You switch off between your opponents. I wasn't honestly, Kevin. I wasn't expecting this first worms to be a procedurally generated maps.
Because it's so early.
Yes.
Nah, man, that's their thing.
Like, I knew it was a thing in the later games, but I thought, for the first game, being it so early, that they would just have the same maps over in the same... They would have levels, essentially.
That's where you're wrong, brother!
Well, I was wrong, and I was pleasantly surprised. I was like, okay, a lot of replay value here, then. With the weapon system, I found it just as frustrating, not in a bad way, just you have to trial and error every single weapon in the game, figure out what it does, how do you get it to work right. The controls seem to always be inverted and the opposite of what you want them to do, and I know they do that on purpose.
Yep.
Just point the bazooka left. Oh, but you actually have to hold right and down for it to balance right on the worm, and then you can aim properly. Shit like that. You have a jetpack, but you have limited amount of fuel. But we're not going to tell you that part.
Well, they tell you in the newer games, which is nice of them. Like, fucking, yeah. I mean, the game is a lot of trial and error, but if you're having, like, a get-together with friends and, like, you want something random to play, like, this is the one to go. Nobody's really good at it. There's wind, and there's a bunch of other factors that kind of change the way the game... It's almost like the Mario Party, but for deathmatch.
It's not a bad comparison, yeah. Yeah, because this version has up to 4-player PvP, player v player, and it's a game that's miles better than playing with friends rather than single player, as is to be expected. I mean, you can play it single player. I would suggest, although, that it would be smart to play it single player for a while to practice and trial and error all the weapons.
And then that way you can totally destroy your friends and
exactly, and you were the winner, and then you could talk shit and
yeah, and then you can tell everyone that you're better than them, and you slept with their mums.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a super fun multiplayer game. The type of game we don't get much of these days in this modern gaming market.
Objection, they've made more Worms games now. You can get them on PS3 and 4.
Well,
so suck it, nerd. Suck it, nerd.
I'm saying, like, these co-op type experiences or multiplayer experiences like this.
I was right.
So, I did read some reviews of the game because I was very curious, like, what this got, and there was a slew of praise and terrible reviews. Not really much in between, which I found pretty fascinating.
Yeah, because you either get this game or you don't. That's the thing. Like, if you're into the randomness and the craziness, you're gonna love it. If you're like, this game is unbalanced, I don't like it. This is nonsense. But the thing about it is, unlike, let's go back to romance, or not even romance. Let's take, like, I don't know, Valkyria Chronicles or something more modern. There's not so much like you have this percentage chance to hit. It's like, no, the sheep hit him or the sheep didn't hit him. That's it. You're not aiming at their head and it goes, oh, a bullet went flying. Like, no, the bazooka, you gave it enough power or you didn't. And then the land's destroyed, they fell or they didn't. And that's why I like it.
Yeah, it's very straightforward in that sense. Yeah, there's 3 ways to die. The worm falls in water, falls off the side of the map, or you lose all your health in that little health bar. So the terrible reviews actually were calling it, and this came up frequently, was a garbage lemming with weapons.
How is it like lemmings at all?
I think it was because of the really low textured maps, but I think that was a limitation of what they were capable of programming at the time, because I believe the studio was pretty young as well.
Yeah, that doesn't. I disagree with that, but all right. Like,
yeah, the praise reviews, as expected, as what you said, just really liked how fun it was with multiplayer. The procedural maps got lots of praise because the amount of replay value is infinite. The slew of weapons were very unique and had that sense of comedy to it. So, Tale of Two Worlds with the reviews. I was actually quite surprised. That's why I put it in my notes.
It's a good game.
Oh yeah, it gets an easy pass. The Worms franchise is still alive today for good reason, and it's actually good to know that the first game in the series was so good.
Yeah, even if it's the ugliest.
Right. I mean, it's not the prettiest by any means, but it still works 100% the same way.
Yep.
Like the formula hasn't changed.
The only weird ones, minus like tower defense games, are like Worms 3D when they tried to make it a 3D game, and then they learned we shouldn't do this in it ever again.
That never happened.
Yeah, no. They like to pretend like, hey, Worms 3D was bad. Go away.
Yeah. So easy pass for me. You too, Kevin?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'll bring us into the next one.
Our sponsor.
Which is called Shining Force, a Sega Genesis exclusive. It goes for around $30 today, so one of the more expensive turn-based strategy franchises out there, actually. Released in Japan March 20th, 1992, North America July 1993, so a full year later and some months. Because there's a lot to translate, because there's a lot of story to this game, surprisingly enough. It was developed by Climax Entertainment, a company of about 20 people, and published by Sega. The Shining series has quite the history, Kevin. Are you familiar with it at all?
Not at all. I only know of Shining in the Darkness, but I've never played it.
So
I've seen it once. How's that?
So, I'm just going to give you the Cliff Notes version, which is there was a lot of co-developers on this on the first Shining Force, and they all eventually split off, leaving Sega for Nintendo. One co-developer went on to create games such as Alundra, which that came out on the PlayStation.
Little indie game, yeah.
And the other developer went on to make a bunch of the Mario sports games.
Another indie franchise.
So I found that kind of interesting. The disconnect with Sega with this, at least with the developers on this. So Shining Force focuses on a mix of kind of that medieval fantasy and sci-fi fantasy, but on the surface it looks like it's just this kind of Dungeons and Dragons type thing where it's just, oh, you're a mage and you go fight dragon or whatever, you're knights and you have swords. But then when you start going into buildings and whatnot, you see that there's computers and shit lying around, and the dialogue is talking about, you know, some futuristic shit. So I thought that was a pretty cool touch on the game. So you've never played any of the Shining Force series before, Kevin? Before this?
No, I kind of dabbled in this, and I didn't get too far in this because like, yeah, I got it, Fire Emblem. That was pretty much my only like. But I know now that you get deeper into it, it sounds like there's more to it than that.
Oh, there's a lot. Yeah, there's a lot more to it. So the game, So the game is your grid-based turn exchange, moving about the map, exchanging blows with enemies until objective complete. Very simplistic, easy. This is definitely something easy to dive right into if you're looking to get into the turn-based strategy genre. Like this one stands out to me as the most friendly. It has a nice little story, and it has your cutscenes in between each mission. However, it has something that I really enjoyed, and that is the intermission that occurs in between battles. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
You actually get to travel around a town, a full-blown town, like a regular RPG would be, full with NPCs and merchants where you can buy shit and beef up your team, and you can even go back and do like side missions or past missions, so you can gain experience points to level up. So let's say you're having a tough time, maybe you're not, accustomed to thinking 2, 3, 4 steps ahead to get ahead of the battle. It encourages you to level up your experience, so you can make it a little easier on yourself. I really like that.
A little nicer than most Fire Emblem games, though.
Oh yeah, it does have the option where you can level up classes at level 10 and 20. That's very Fire Emblem-like.
Mm-hmm.
Fallen allies can be revived at the next checkpoint, or in this case, churches in the game, and that's where the town comes in. So there's no permanent death or anything. You get your people back, and the church helps you out. This game holds up the test of time so well. I love the sprite designs. I love how big they are on the screen. The music is quite nice. It doesn't get repetitive and irritating. And I actually enjoy the story because of that whole sci-fi mixed with the medieval fantasy. The characters are okay. You miss a lot of the apparently, and this is why I had to look this up. You miss a lot of the characters' backstories due to translation errors, and they just kind of cut some stuff out. So there's actually a re-release, Kevin, with the Game Boy Advanced version, which flushes out that missed in translation stuff.
There's a Game Boy Advance version of this?
Yeah. Came out many years later. Yeah.
Oh. Interesting. I didn't know that.
So this game is fantastic, and I loved how user-friendly it is. The story was interesting. Maps were different from level to level, and very much so where you had to kind of scope it out. And I really like that about turn-based strategy games. So of this stuff that you dabbled in, what stood out to you, Kevin?
It was it was a really good tactic strategy game. It's just, I didn't get far enough into it because I thought it was just like, okay, this. I didn't get deep into it, but I guess I should have.
Well, I mean, if you give it the chance and play it more, this is actually good.
You can use save states on there. No?
I mean, you could play it that way for sure, where you got to start the whole game over.
I'm a fucking cheater. Okay.
Okay. So Shining Force, this is really nice because I've only played, I think, the fourth one before this.
Why that one?
Or two. I've only played two.
How did you go out of order? The fuck are you doing?
No, I have Shining Force 2. I've never played the first one before. So, this was, again, this is just like Worms, where it was really nice to see the very first game basically knock it out of the park. And this is an easy pass for me. So, we're 3 for 3 somehow. I don't think this has ever happened.
We did it, Reddit.
And Kevin, I'm nulling your pass fail because you didn't play enough.
Oh, I'll go fuck myself.
Does it sound like you would pass it now?
You know, now that I know there's more to it, because I got it, tactics, medieval, sweet.
Yeah. Well, cool then.
So, wait a minute. So, wait, since there's a lot of sci-fi elements with medieval stuff, would you say it's a lot like Phantasy Star?
I would, actually.
All right, then.
Yeah.
I'll go with that.
It's Phantasy Star, but turn-based strategy rather than in straight RPG.
Phantasy Star, Shining Star, Shining Force.
I see what
Half-Life
you did there.
3 confirmed. Got it.
Alrighty, why don't you take us into our fourth game?
Bah! Fire Emblem, Mystery of the Emblem for the Super Famicom, sir. Super Famicom. I see here you wrote this SNES thing. That's wrong.
Okay, Mr. Picky.
Yeah, go fuck you too. So, January 21st, 1994, you can get a translated repro card, or if you have a Retron 5, like I do, you get a little translation patch and just keep playing. Fine me. Intelligent Systems, published by Nintendo. So it kind of, this is almost the start of the Fire Emblem series. There's one before it on the Famicom.
Yeah.
I believe one or two more.
Yeah, this is the one, though, that kick-started it.
Yeah, I see that.
What made it so popular. At least that's my opinion.
So it kind of, did this introduce the triangle battle system? I don't think so. I think that was always a thing.
No. It was always a thing. This is the game with Marth.
Oh, this is the first Marth. You know, but no. He was the first one.
I don't think so.
Liar, because I played Shadow Dragon on DS, and that's a remake of the first one. You liar.
Was it?
Liar.
I thought the Fire Emblem on the GBA was the remake of the first one.
No.
And Shadow Dragon was the sequel.
Nope, that was like the fourth one.
Ah, whatever then. Moving on.
So anyway, Fire Emblem's a good tactic strategy game. It's actually the first turn-based strategy game I've played, and this is the one it's probably bad to start with because this makes me think every tactics game has permadeath now, even if they don't.
No,
it's
just Fire Emblem.
Yeah, and Fire Emblem's known to be, these are hard strategy games, but they're at the same time very user-friendly, even though they have some weakness. I kind of found you could just bull rush in and just, as long as you kill everyone, you win. Like, without a lot of thinking. I don't know if you feel the same way, but
ooh. I think if you're okay with one or two people dying as you get to about the halfway point in the game per map, and then you end the game with like 3 people alive, then yeah, you can bull rush.
See, I've bull rushed in, and I feel like I could win no matter what.
You definitely win, but you're gonna probably lose a person or two.
Yeah, but they probably sucked anyway, and the weak will fall.
The weak will fall. Then, yeah, this game does have permadeath. That's what Fire Emblem is known for, and what that means is if you have an ally fall in battle, you don't have the option of revival, creating a much higher difficulty, some pressure. So it makes you think ahead to prevent, your team from wiping out, or at least restarting the mission from scratch. Anyways, that's usually the solution people go with. Oh, I had one of my favorite characters die. Reset, start the mission over again.
It's a really hard game, but honestly, I think this is what's what I'm looking for. This is the pinnacle of turn-based strategy for me, like the Fire Emblem series. Even if they get a little silly, and the stories make almost no sense. I don't know about you guys.
They get very tropey, don't they? At least nowadays.
Trope is Fire Trope Emblem is its full name. Yes.
Yeah. So this game does have the Fire Emblem is known for its triangle battle strength weakness system. Let's see if I can get this right. Axe beats sword. Sword beats spear.
Yeah.
Spear beats axe.
However,
and then you have magic abilities and bows with other characters.
Bows destroy anything with wings, like immediately.
Right.
Magic is kind of it's all over the place, honestly.
Magic you can attack at distances.
So yeah, so here's the thing about that triangle weapon system you just great detail about.
Mm-hmm.
It almost does not fucking matter.
You don't think so? I think it matters.
I found I can. It really depends on like the level of my characters. I feel like that thing had a minor role in anything I've ever played in Fire Emblem. The only one I really worried about was do I have wings and does that guy have a?
You had to be much more careful in that sense. Because I guess the way they programmed it was more devastating if your like knight all of a sudden met a
terrible fate,
like a barbarian or someone who had an axe, and the axe would kill him immediately.
Yeah, axe does kind of. It seems like anything with heavy armor and axe would just destroy.
Right. So there are a lot of like enemies and unique traits in the Fire Emblem series, especially Mister of the Emblem, especially in the early series. You got to be careful because the some characters are more overpowered than others. There wasn't a lot of balance to it. Like take Fire Emblem Awakening, that has great balance to the game. Mister of the Emblem, they definitely make some characters more important.
But Awakening, Fred fast.
It was funny. That's kind of, but man, what I have noticed about, not unlike the Shining Force series, I get attached to the Fire Emblem characters. Yeah. I get really attached, and that's because of the game's use of the pairing system. And this is where the allies will become stronger when they get accustomed to fighting with friends or family next to them. And I don't. Oh. Do the characters get married in this? I think they do.
I don't think it becomes a thing.
I don't think they did, but there is the pairing system.
Yeah, no, I don't think that becomes a thing till like a...
Right, yeah, because they get married and then they have a kid and that becomes a new character. No, that definitely wasn't in Mystery of the Emblem here. No, but there was the family option or the friends option. You become friends with characters the more they fight next to each other and team up against enemies. And that's where I get like super into it. I found myself like making my own little story there at times between the two characters.
I love you. Yeah.
Yeah, right, of course.
It's JD.
That's where I was going. I was thinking of like a Grado, Joe Hendry bro situation here.
Best bros.
Best bros.
Everyone in this game loves each other so deeply, platonically.
The game, I do feel like the game is definitely harder than Shining Force. It's still user friendly, but not to the extent that Shining Force was. It's for those that want just that little extra challenge.
But it's not as friendly as Romance.
No, not even close.
Yeah, no. Romance was like top tier UI, easy to get into, good stuff.
I'm pleasantly surprised with Mystery of the Emblem. You can get the Famicom version for like $6, and you can get repro carts of this from anywhere from like $10 to $20, just depending where you get it. For the Super Nintendo.
They're all good.
All good. Another pass.
Oh, yeah.
Surprisingly enough, we're 4 for 4.
Yeah, well, Romance, no.
Oh, Romance for you, no, that's right. 4 for 4 for me, 3 out of 4 for you.
Yeah.
Sort of.
Well, yeah, 2.5.
2.5. 2 out of 4.
Well, because Shining Force, I was like, man.
Yeah, you definitely need to go back and give that another try.
Platonically.
All right. Okay, well then I'll do the next one. Our 5th game is Advance Wars for the Game Boy Advance. Ooh, we're going portable.
Ooh.
How you like that?
I feel scared.
And this was a North America only release initially. Came out September 10th, 2001. It was later ported to Japan like 3 years later.
Which is weird because this is a Japanese series.
It was even developed and published by the same people that did the Fire Emblem Mystery of the Emblem, Intelligent Systems and Nintendo.
But this is a sequel series to Famicom Wars.
Right.
So that's weird that it was North American only.
Yeah, I found that very strange. I wonder why. And it even has a bunch of the anime, like character art and everything going on with it. So very, very surprising. Game gets you to complete an extremely detailed tutorial before getting you into the campaign, which is great comparing it to, let's say, Fire Emblem and even Shining Force, where you kind of gotta to learn how everything works and you know, how grid-based system moving works and all that. So there's definitely, being that it's the most recent game on our list here, it totally makes sense why they decided to put in this detailed tutorial system. And who plays handheld games the most? Kids.
Kevin, right? Yeah.
Yeah, right. Kids, young kids too. So this was actually very nice. I didn't have to look up a very detailed walkthrough, no 30-minute YouTube video of what the hell this symbol means or anything, and like Romance of the Three Kingdoms. What else did you like? What did you like about Advance Wars, or not like?
I like the art style of these games. I like the cute, almost chibi nature of them. It is kind of weird that they're just like 12-year-olds. War and death is fun, right? Okay.
I found that comical too.
Yeah, I like the ultimate powers every unit gets. But the thing that really sucks, because I love a lot about these games, is that I'm really, really bad at them. And I know Fog of War is like a common turn-based strategy thing, but like any mission that does that, I am out. Like, I feel the game is like, in that Fog of War is programming against you purposely, and I almost find myself in a lot of unwinnable situations. You know, it takes a lot to capture a city, but like to do more than the enemies do, and like these games get brutally hard.
I never find early levels in these games very difficult myself.
Yeah, but then it just cranks it up to 11 after that.
You know what? In Advance Wars, it did. And I wondered why. Because I've played Advance Wars 2. This is another case where I played the sequel, not the original. You see a theme here. One trick that always helps me in turn-based strategy games, and I definitely had to do this a lot in Advance Wars, was scan over the enemy units. I usually do that in Fire Emblem, and I did forget to mention this when we were talking about that, was scan over the enemy, see what they are. Okay, this guy's an axe. Don't go right up next to him. Maybe lure him into a situation where I can get 2 people fighting him instead of just one-on-one with a guy who's weak. In Advance Wars, I had to do it with like every single unit and find out like what their attack power was, because Advance Wars isn't so much knights and barbarians swinging their swords and axes. This is about, you know, planes and ships and bombers and tanks and a lot of artillery things. Not like in Worms, but
you also have to manage their fuel if they're a vehicle. Like, you have a lot to manage in these.
Yeah, this was a lot more to manage, so it definitely took me longer to go across boards and maps, and being that it was a handheld, it was kind of surprising to me.
But that's the issue I have with it, is that like there's a lot of things to keep track of, but I'm supposed to be playing this in little chunks, and I don't feel like you can do that. Like, I feel like this would be better on a home system.
For Advance Wars, yeah, I could see that, because of the fact that it took me longer to play each mission. And that was because I had to keep track of so much, of how much fuel this enemy has if I go up next to him. Will I run out of fuel here? Will I run out of ammunition occasionally?
And you're fucked.
Yeah, then you're screwed. Then do you want to sacrifice the unit? Do you want to pull them back? Do you even have enough fuel to do that? There was I did find it easier if I just went from top to bottom with all the units and just did it that way. Because you're on a handheld, because you're on the GBA, the maps did feel real cramped. Somehow it still worked, strangely enough, because you didn't have to move your units so like super far, not unlike Fire Emblem, which that happened quite frequent. You had to move it all the way across a map.
Right.
Shining Force was a little bit more condensed. Again, speaks to its user friendliness. Advance Wars is so condensed because it's on a portable system, that your units really only move 1 to 3 spaces max, even planes.
No, planes and helicopters get like 5, I thought.
That's not much though in the grand scheme of things. Like in Fire Emblem, your horses could move like 10 spaces.
Horses are better than planes. What's your point?
Well, planes should be able to do more than.
That's where you're fucking wrong, bitch.
But, you know, I would expect a plane would be able to go across the map essentially, while the tank would only go like 1 or 2. But, you know, hey, on a handheld, I suppose 1 to 5 is the equivalent to 2 to 10, I suppose. The ratio does work out. It minor complaint, really. I did like a lot of the this game is heavily animated. Yes, compared to the older. No, Alexa, don't do it.
What?
Okay, she was blinking and looking at me.
I thought you meant like you had an echo that was just like, search for whatever, and I was like, why can you hear echo right now?
The what was I saying? Oh, the animations. Yeah, the animations in Advance Wars were very detailed, very cute. They came across, the whole game came across as cute. Like you said, it's kids going to war. Hooray! Nothing bad happens there.
Well, it's like the thing is, it's like a kid going to war, evil fucking dictator. And I'm like, this sounds like every RPG ever. I get it. Kids have like unlimited like funds to create like war. This isn't like an adventure. It's a fucking war. real weird to me, but you know, Japan.
But when I compare the animations to like the Fire Emblem and Shining Force, where it was a lot of repeat animation of just you know, the knight on the horse just stabs with the spear. Okay, we're done. Yep. Hey, fair enough of the time. No problem.
Yeah, I actually ended up turning off the battle animations after a while. So I was like, all right, I get it. Which I do in a lot of these games, because like eventually you're just like, okay.
Yeah, you've seen them 100 times, then you end up skipping them.
It's cool. It's cool the first time, then you're like, okay, I got things to do.
I got things to do.
So,
I think my favorite part of Advance Wars was the use of weather implicated in the game, because it affected unit stats, it affected the ground and how you could go on, etc. That was so cool. Compared to that didn't even happen in Romance of the Three Kingdoms. Holy shit, right? I'm sure it did in later games. I haven't played those.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, number 9 really turned it around. Series.
Romance of the Three Kingdoms 9. That's where weather came in, let me tell you.
You just have to bear through the backstory of the other fucking 8, but you know.
Yeah, right. Oh boy.
Who made this game?
Who made Advance Wars?
No, I mean who made Romance? Like,
oh, Koei. Yeah.
No, the person.
Boy, if Koei put in as much effort as they did in the Romance series as they do in the Dynasty Warriors series today, we might have the best gaming experience on the planet with Dynasty Warriors. What are we at, 9? But instead we got a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Off topic, Advance Wars. Have you played the sequel at all, or dabbled in this prior to the cast?
I also played Advance Wars 2 before 1.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean 2 is obviously the more advanced, better game. How advanced, get it?
Bah!
Bah! And then I just found myself in a lot of unwinnable situations, put it down. And then for some reason I decided to pick up the DS games, and I was like, man, I'm still not good at these. I've backed away from the series and this genre as a whole lately. Because it's a lot of complexity. I got a lot of things going on in my real life thinking too hard about. I can't be killing myself over these. So they're fun games, they're accessible. There's just a lot to keep track of, and I really feel like a home version of these would do the series a lot of justice.
Can't totally disagree with that. I think with the way Advance Wars is set up and how much more detailed everything is, especially comparing Fire Emblem, the only game Advance Wars was missing to be on, I would say, the same difficulty level as Fire Emblem, it would be a permadeath system.
Yeah, but you don't really need it because the units, they're just units, they're expendable, you know?
Right. But let's say, that was one thing. You do gain allies just like anything else, but I really did like how you utilized the currency system where you can get more units, and that's what you bring to battle with you. I thought that was really cool, instead of just a predetermined setup, or right. you have your X amount of allies and you just pick and choose between them. This was actually, you had to spend money and bring that to the battlefield. I thought that was real cool as well.
Right. And capturing more cities gets you more money per turn.
Right.
So you have to strategize, keep track of those. Another thing to keep track of.
Yeah, a lot to keep track of in Advance Wars. You almost need a pen and paper at times for this game. I don't think it's as accessible as, let's say, Shining Force or Fire Emblem, but it is still a very solid game. I think once you've gotten into the turn-based strategy and you know what to expect, what parameters to look for, how to approach enemies based on movement, then I would say Advance Wars would be for you.
Yeah, but it's a lot to get to that point.
This game goes for $22.
It's expensive.
It's up there.
Like I said, they're good. It's just you got to be ready for it. Don't be fooled by the cheapy wars fun.
Right.
Death is just but a minor inconvenience in this world.
This is like the opposite of Shining Force, where you also can't judge the book by its cover, but it's more complicated in this sense rather than simple.
Yeah. So, look, man, go for it if you want, but you're gonna be dying.
Yeah. Alrighty. Well, Kevin, take us into our last game of the cast.
Final Fantasy Tic Tacs. It was just about
indeed.
It is. Here's another one. I made a mistake playing this. I thought Advance and Tactics were the same game.
Ooh, no.
Yeah, I learned that. That's wrong. So I played more Final Fantasy Advanced Tactics. Either way, kind of the same deal. But the thing about this turn-based strategy game, yeah, it's a 3D turn-based strategy system. Isometric. There's a lot. There's a lot. I don't even know where to start because I got really lost in this game. I don't know. I didn't like the 3D isometric thing of it.
Yeah, it's the only game on the list we played that wasn't on a flat grid with terrain. Mm-hmm. This is a 3D isometric field with complete with towns and waterfalls and fields and stuff. So
it's a full Final Fantasy game.
Yeah, really. It's still a Final Fantasy game. They what they did was they put like a Final Fantasy environment on this isometric field. Thought was interesting. It was like floating in the air.
Yeah, it was unique, and it tried to make you use your altitude tactically to actually win the battles, but man, I couldn't get it.
You didn't get this one?
It's not bad. Again, I'm just bad at this genre. Like, I'm not blaming this game.
So, it came out on the PlayStation June 20th, 1997 in Japan, January 28th, 1998 in North America, so kind of a 6-month turnaround there. Developed by Square, published by Square, Sony Computer Entertainment America in America.
America.
The game is very cheap. It goes for $10 max. And, man, the story is incredibly deep, and it takes place in the perspective of the two main characters. It does play out like your typical Final Fantasy, where you have your set characters. They gather together and they're against the big bad. Be it they got to gather something or fight against something that is gathering something, and you got to stop world domination. You know, whatever. It's a Final Fantasy plot. They're all pretty much more or less the same.
World domination.
Yeah, when you break it down to the Cliff Notes kind of situation. So the story is very deep. I really got into that. But why are we here? Because it's a turn-based strategy. How does it play? There are what they called random battles in the game, although they were in preset locations on each kind of board you played on. So they're not random. If you go over them, then the battle occurs. But they're in set places.
They they can't make it super. The game had to do what it had to do. Like, I don't feel like this would have worked if, like, here's a random turn-based strategy fight. You got 20 minutes. Good luck. Like, you would have been traveling forever.
However, you use that to your advantage. So you go. Let's say your objective in this on this particular map here with your Final Fantasy characters is to wipe out the enemy. However, you go into battle underleveled. Well, your solution would be don't encounter the enemy right away. Go to these preset battle locations, fight the computer for a little bit, level up, then go to the enemy. And then, of course, use your terrain to your advantage. That is something this game utilized much more of comparatively to, say, even Advance Wars or Fire Emblem or Shining Force. This one, like, you go on top of houses or little mountain hills, and you get stat boosts accordingly to that. Hide in forests will make your evasion go up. Yes, that's in like Fire Emblem and Shining Force as well, but not to this extent. I feel. Mm-hmm. I feel this had a lot more of those elements fleshed out.
Yeah, and it does. It makes use of that 3D space really well. It's a lot to adjust to than your normal 2D turn-based strategy game.
What I didn't like about this game is every battle seemed to always congregate the same way, where all the characters just get into like a square where everyone's next to each other, and it's just who got to the higher terrain first. And then that's pretty much who's going to win. Yeah, there's more to it. Like, you know, you got your healers and magic users involved, and, you know, there's always those elements you gotta pay attention to in the characters and how they're set up, but everyone always just groups together in the end, it seems. At least that's how it played out for me all the time. Like, oh, yes. I'll put these two characters on a house, then I'll have the high ground. Well, now everyone's around this one house. Hopefully I don't have anyone that's going to get screwed, because now all the other enemies are coming to this as well.
Yeah, I didn't feel like no matter how big the map was, it didn't really matter. Yeah. I feel like it was just like, here we are.
Yeah, everyone's just going to flock to the same location anyways.
Yeah. So,
the other thing I didn't like was I felt the maps were too small.
Well, is it just because of they're all congregating here, or is that the map is just small in general?
No, the actual map was just small in general.
Could it have been by design?
It's possible. It's probable. It is square. I'm sure that's just
square being square.
Yeah, I think so. But I don't know. It just seemed like when I compare Shining Force and Fire Emblem, even Advance Wars, what makes these games interesting is the plan of attack and then the journey to that attack. You know, getting yourself set up. In Final Fantasy Tactics, I didn't get any of that. What I got was, within a move, I was already in my location, or two max, and then I would just stay there and then move another character a place or two, and then we all end up in that same spot. Like, these battles went by super fast, comparatively.
Gotcha. All right.
Because of that, I didn't like the game itself was still solid. I liked the story involved. I liked all the Final Fantasy shit going on with the magic, and you know, it felt like a Final Fantasy game for sure. But we're playing turn-based strategy, and it just didn't quite give me that turn-based strategy feeling. What did you like? You felt this game was too hard to get into? Like, what was it exactly?
It was so very different. And it takes a lot of adjustments from, like, this is the only turn-based strategy game I know of where you're on, like, multiple planes. I've never seen that before. So learning how to do it properly is just weird for me.
Got to use your brain differently.
Look, man, I'm playing games to not think. That's my issue.
The only other game I can think of that utilizes not so much this isometric view, but to this 3D extent, is the later Front Mission games. That's another turn-based strategy franchise.
Yeah, I wanted to put one of those on here, but I don't think any of them qualify.
Well, we have already covered Front Mission as well. Like, Front Mission 3 came out on the PS1. That qualifies.
It doesn't mean I don't want more.
Yeah. So, Front Mission 3 is good. It's a turn-based mecha game, so should tickle somebody's fancy out there. Tickles mine.
Ooh, tickles my taint.
But if you're looking for a Final Fantasy game that's super different, and you want to work your brain in a much different way, I think Final Fantasy Tactics is
Mystic Quest,
is
right?
Good. Mystic Quest. Is that a turn-based strategy?
There's taking turns to strategize to kill the boss.
Oh, you're just thinking of turn-based RPG.
I know, I'm just trying to find.
Yeah.
If you want a really different Final Fantasy game, play 7. Not very well known.
Not very well known. Right. Good thing it's coming to the Switch. Really get the word out.
Well, people, I'm gonna fucking shit on Switch owners again. I have a Switch. But people can be like, this is revolutionary. Nintendo's done it again. No.
Just like Donkey Kong Country Freeze. Oh, it's on the Switch now? It's better.
It's got funky mode.
Funky Kong's in it now. Yay! 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
So, do you pass Final Fantasy Tactics, or do you feel like it wasn't user-friendly enough to get into?
I'd give it a pass, but don't let it be your first Tactics game.
Okay.
I think if we're gonna, instead of saying what was the best for this podcast, like, I feel like if we're gonna do, like, entry level, start with Fire Emblem, move to Advance Wars, move to... Actually, hold up, let me take it back. Start with Worms, then go to Fire Emblem, then Advance Wars, then Tactics. I lied. Then Shining Force, then Tactics, then Romance.
I think you need to play like the entire series of all the other games, and then you can go to romance.
I think you need to write a fucking dissertation on turn-based strategy games.
Absolutely, yeah.
And
play Civilization and then play romance.
Yeah.
Really get the grand scheme of how everything could possibly work.
Yeah, fucking... Here's a better idea. Don't play romance at all. Better idea.
Go get an economics degree, and then you might be able to be qualified to play Romance of the Three Kingdoms.
Go back in time, play Civ, defeat Gandhi, because he's just an angry person.
Yeah. I actually have a couple copies of Final Fantasy Tactics, because this is another case of I was moving to Germany at the time, and I knew I'd get a lot of time out of it, so I bought the PSP version. I had my PSP with me in Germany. So
look at you.
Yeah. So yeah, funny enough, every game does get a pass from me on this cast. I didn't hate a single game. I didn't dislike a single game. Just it felt like what was more user friendly and how much do you have to think. I believe if I was to complain about something the most, it would be Final Fantasy Tactics.
Right. Why?
Well, I already mentioned with the whole players congregate around.
Oh, I thought you meant like the game had a flaw.
Yeah. No, it was just what it's not a flaw in the game so much as just personal taste, I would say.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Makes more sense.
Yep. So,
Word.
Kevin, I'm going to go first here. My least favorite would have to be Romance of the Three Kingdoms, unfortunately, because of how ungodly complicated it is. Even though I did enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
I did enjoy my time with it, but it was definitely the most complicated, and I had to look up a guide in order to get started on it. So, no. My favorite, my favorite is actually going to be the very first Shining Force. It was very user friendly. I liked the characters well enough. I liked the battle system.
Your favorite being a Sega game? What?
Yeah, what? Well, I'll be honest. Advance Wars was a real close first, but it's second place.
Fair.
I think if you want to get into the turn-based strategy series, Shining Force is the game and the series to get into. Not the modern ones. They're not made by the same people. They're not made by...
How about the mobile games, though, right?
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
no. And it doesn't have the permadeath system. I think that's a turnoff for a lot of people.
Yeah, but it might be easy to get into. You know, trade-offs.
How about yourself?
Easy disfavor is Romance of the Three Kingdoms. It can fuck the hell. Too hard, too crazy. No, not do that. Easy favorite is Worms. It's simple, easy to get into, easy to play with friends. You know, you're not kind of praying to RNGesus. You're just kind of hit him with the bazooka. If you missed, all right, you fucking suck. Get over it, kid.
Worms is a real good time. That's for sure, no doubt.
I mean, anything with friends is easy. You know, better.
They do make it better.
Yeah, even bad games are better with friends.
So, Kevin.
Hi.
I believe you have the next choice of theme.
Oh, we're doing it. It's going down. You fucking ready for this?
What is it? Do tell the audience as we tease the next episode.
Listen. Oh, wait, can I tell them the theme?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, okay. We're going to be doing... I kind of want to make this a little trilogy, maybe. But it's going to be Game Boy / Game Boy Color games, because we don't get a lot of portable love around here.
Can it be handheld games?
No, that's why I want it to be a trilogy. Yeah, I'm gonna do a thing here. We might go to like the Game Boy Advance.
Or next. The Neo Geo Pocket Color.
That was gonna be the trilogy. Is like the weird handhelds trilogy, like
the
Game
Wonder
Gear,
Swan, the Game
Gear, Wonder Swan, Atari Lynx, the Vectrex. That's handheld, right?
Oh, we didn't mention. Okay, before we end the episode, I totally forgot to mention.
JD came over a Vectrex.
I got to play a fucking Vectrex at
I can't believe you've
Retro
never
World
played
Expo.
one. Or
I'd never played one. I'd never seen one before in real life.
Yeah, Well, you emulated one once, right?
Yeah, I've emulated the games, and it is night and day.
Yeah, it's not even
close.
Can't emulate that.
You can't emulate that experience. It is so unique. It's just what like light blue lines on a black box screen.
So the way the Vectrex works, actually, you didn't get to see this because nobody had one. So it's these little vertical monitors, right? There's no pixels on the screen. It's all vector-based graphics. So there's little light beams that shoot out and make the graphics. Like if you look at the monitor closely, which you can't because it's so bright you'll go blind, you'll notice there's no pixels on the screen. So it's all vector-based graphics, and the games run at like 120 frames a second. It's so smooth. It's amazing, but there's no color because to cut costs, there were no color monitors. Every game came with a plastic overlay you'd put on the screen, and that was your color.
Oh.
So there's no color in the games. So that being said, I hope you like the colors like for, what was it, for Mindstorm. I hope you like blue and yellow because that's all you're getting in these specific spots. Like, that's all you get. And there's only like 14 games for the system. I think only like 1 or 2 are really expensive. And then there's a lot of homebrew games being made for it. So
wow.
Yeah, it's a scene, man.
That's really cool. You know what? When I have some splurging money, I've really thought about getting a Vectrex now. It's just been in my head since Retro World Expo.
I tell you to get it, but to save yourself some money, don't go buying the games individually. A lot of pirate carts out there, like multi-carts.
Okay. And you can just have all the games?
Yeah, and plus some homebrews, and there's like a little dip switch on the cart that like loads up games. So.
That's really cool.
Yeah, so I'd tell you to go do that.
I think I would do that then.
Mm-hmm. You're gonna have some fun.
I do want to mention that the Neo Geo Mini console went live on Amazon.
I had to.
It's like $200 for the 40 games that we've already seen many, many times.
And as I think I made the joke before, keeping in price with Neo Geo.
Yeah, you aren't kidding there. That is a very appropriate joke to make. And even the controller that you could get, that's just like a regular like Super Nintendo-esque controller. Those are like over $100 by themselves. I'm like, what?
It's the one with the clicky joystick, so people are gonna want that.
So what? My Neo Geo Pocket Color has the clicky joystick, and that's not even worth $120.
Look, I didn't say people buying this were smart. I just said it's there.
Oh my god. So overpriced. I'm incredibly disappointed. And then I came to find out that the 40th or whatever anniversary collection, the SNK collection that's coming out on the Switch, is only going to have like 10 games on it.
Yeah.
And then you're going to have to download another 10, but none of them are the ones you would care about when you associate SNK. So incredibly disappointing all around. Very sad. So, Kevin, you recommended to get the PS2 game.
The PS2/Wii/PSP collection.
Yeah.
Which has more games on it. It's cheaper. Look, don't do this, SNK.
Yeah. Stop. It was such a cool like mini console idea, and then it's just an overpriced mess.
It reminds you, almost reminds you of the Neo Geo thing they tried to do.
Mm.
That happened once.
Yeah, it did.
Who let them do that?
Alrighty, so we're doing Game Boy Color games in the next theme episode.
I consider that one system. I know people don't, but
no, that's fair.
Ass. So
I'm looking forward to it. We will count that as a console special, much like our Sega CD episode. So be doing a little bit of research over the Game Boy and Game Boy Color. I
have my picks ready to go.
All right. Well, you can tell me right after the cast is over. So
got it.
Thank you, everyone, for joining the Red Leaf Retrocast. Don't forget to head on over to iTunes or Stitcher Smart Radio. Subscribe, leave us a nice little review there. Gets the word out. We haven't had a review in quite some time. We're also available on Spotify and many other podcasting outlets. Head on over to the YouTube page if you want to subscribe to any live streams and see that of our uncut, uncensored selves with a little pre-show or an after-show talk. Not much, but it's there. And I put on some Let's Plays every now and again of just starting out some games every now and then. I just put up the first 2 hours of Shadow of the Tomb Raider, so you can see my experience with that.
Ooh.
And yeah, Kevin, thank you for joining me for yet another episode, and I look forward to speaking with you in the next one, hopefully.
Yeah, buddy.
In 2 weeks.
Two.
Dose. Bye.
Dose. Bye. Oops, that's not the stop button. That's the stop button.
Cool.
We made it. All right, ready for my picks? You got to write this down.
All right, hold on. Let me get the Excel.
There's no time.
Oh, I need to give you the Excel file in a Google Drive.
You do?
I mean.
Oh yeah, for things you played, so I can finally keep track of this shit.
Yeah.
All right, exporting file now.
Yes, sir.
Where do I want to fucking Ripple-Tide? Where the fuck is Ripple-Tide?
Ripple-Tide?
Oh, yeah, Octopath. I had it on sleep when I'm ready to
Oh, yeah, it is a town in it.
Yeah, no, how is going down to Ripple-Tide? That doesn't make sense, game.
Wow, we've done... This will be the 5th episode since the Sega CD, so it actually works out. We're doing a console one at the time. Cool.
It's
so
like
the next one is going to be on September 30th. Oh, cool.
South Cobblestone Gap. Cobblestone is below me. No, it's.
Were you like grinding during the episode the whole time?
No, I left it in sleep.
Okay.
I thought about it. I won't lie.
Game Boy. I'll just put Game Boy. That's fine.
How the fuck do I get down there? God damn it, game.
So
I hate the map in this game. I hate it so much.
Colin, it's just a topographic map, man.
No, it's not, because I literally says I want to go to Ripple-Tide. It's not on the arrow signs, and going up brings me south to going south brings me up to Cobblestone. It doesn't make sense.
Well, yeah, when you don't know the paths, you don't know where you're quite going. It's for exploration purposes. You could just pull up a map from like IGN. Come on.
Don't tell me how to live.
All right, what are your 2 games?
So the first one is Pocket Bomberman.
Okay, I think I've heard of that.
Once or twice. It's
what system is it on?
The Sega Nomad.
Okay, the Wonder Swan. Gotcha.
No, it's on the Nomad, not the Genesis, just the Nomad. It was an exclusive.
It's on the Atari Lynx.
Yes, actually. Oh, that's how it gets where I gotta be. Okay. And then James Bond 007, which is the best Zelda game you've never played.
James Bond 007?
It's a Zelda game. James Bond, Bond, not the fish.
Okay.
It's a Zelda game.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's literally Zelda 1, but it's only like 4 hours long, and it's pretty. You like point and click adventures, right? A lot of inventory management.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, it's that.
Oh.
The only part of the game that kind of sucks is that you have to learn how to play Red Dog card game. But you can find a guide online that kind of walks you through that part. So it's a good. MI6 gives you unlimited casino funds, for mission purposes. So yeah. Oh, and Oddjob's also 10 times taller than you are because his sprite is a boss, obviously. So he's clearly taller.
Covered Metroid 2. We've covered Link's Awakening. Do I want to pick Shantae or Donkey Kong? Oh, you know what? I want to do Donkey Kong.
The Donkey Kong 94?
No, it's just called Donkey Kong, I believe, on the Game Boy. It's like a puzzle game, essentially, though.
But it's like the arcade game. But then it unlocks like the 94 other levels.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's called Donkey Kong 94 commonly.
Oh, because it came out in 1994?
Because people go Donkey Kong and they think like, oh, the game.
Yeah, this is the Game Boy Donkey Kong.
Yeah,
fucking. So.
Yeah, fucking weirdos.
Think on my second one because
I have so many suggestions. If you want one.
I don't want to pick Shantae. I think we've already covered Shantae. Actually, I think that was in our female protagonists episode.
I think you're also right. How about the port of Gex Deep Cover Gecko on the Game Boy? That exists.
Yeah, we did we did have Shantae already. You picked Shantae, as a matter of fact.
I did pick Shantae. Right. I should probably play one of the other ones.
I think I might veto Metroid Fusion. Because we've covered, I think, 2 or 3 Metroid games already.
Fusion is GBA.
Oh, you're right. You did say specifically Game Boy Color.
I'm gonna do a trilogy of choices.
You're thinking.
Yes.
Ooh, DuckTales 2.
DuckTales 2 on the Game Boy.
Yeah.
It's much cheaper than the NES game, and I think it's pretty much the same.
That's why I got it.
All right. Actually, I remember I was working at the game store. My boss was like, "Wait, that's on Game Boy?" Because he didn't know. I was like, "Holy fuck, is that rare or expensive?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's like $10, man."
All right. Well, I'm gonna end the stream now.
Oh, we're on stream still?
Yeah.
Investigate 311.